My dissertation project is called Robert De Niro's Method, Acting, Authorship, and Agency in the New Hollywood. And basically the point of it is the New Hollywood is an era that's really being considered a director's cinema. And so what I'm trying to do, and what I'm doing with the aid of the Harry Ransom Center's archives, is really kind of looking at De Niro's materials and reinserting him into a history that he's largely been omitted from at this point. Basically, when you open up a script or a shooting script, it's almost this living document where it's not only the script or the words on the page, but it's not only his notations, but it's all of these notes stuffed into corners, and it's all of these kind of dog ears, and it's all of this research that goes into it. And we tend to think about production only happening on set. But I think probably the most surprising thing about all of this material is it reveals an intellectual process that is something that we don't necessarily always associate with actors. Certain films that aren't necessarily as important in the traditional histories became more important to my project. And so one of these films is Bang the Drum Slowly, which is a film about baseball, which is very different from the type of roles that De Niro became famous for. It's a very sensitive portrait of a Georgia back catcher who is not necessarily the smartest person. And so this film really allowed me to investigate the moment where De Niro put everything together and came up with this technique. What this cross-section I hope will eventually provide is our opportunity to view De Niro not as this kind of simply an actor, which is what he's known for, but more of an enterprising entrepreneur along the lines of someone like Warren Beatty or Robert Redford. But when you get to someone like Robert De Niro, who's made almost 100 films or has been behind the scenes, who's made at least a film a year for the past 50 years, you have this much more accurate, body to draw from. The example I always think of is, those explorers in the North who do environmental science, and they drill in and they get a core sample. I think that, when you have a core sample across, consistent body of work, you have a much more accurate description or a much more accurate record of what actually occurs.